Hello everyone, welcome to the last garden tour of 2020. I am so excited to be doing this because looking back at the year, so much has changed, but right now I'm just so thrilled that I am enjoying some beautiful orchids. Most of my orchids on our porch have been putting out flower spikes like this one here. The little ones haven't. I got two little ones. They haven't really, although I think this one did finally start. It's got one little shoot, but we've got some really nice new growth here. And this one over here has a flower spike coming up as well. They've had a little bit of a rough time because we've had such crazy temperature changes. So I did take them inside while Florida had its coldest Christmas in 20 years. But orchids are doing great. They've been enjoying, I think, the mid 70s and medium humidity levels. The porch, on the other hand, still a disaster because we are still working on this line, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to show you guys our new pollinator row, which I am so excited about. Now these guys aren't on their automatic watering system yet, but I moved 3 of my bins from the backyard over here and either added to their habitat, like existing plants, or added new plants to make them pollinator friendly because of the monarchs being put on the endangered species list but not getting really any extra protection or care. I figured we needed to do a little something extra. Wally's been out here helping check on them. We put all sorts of clearance porterweed that we got at the local nursery. I had some random amaranth in that I left. Butterfly bush in white, salvia. I had existing salvia over here. I just kind of went crazy and cherry picked whatever I wanted. And this was my coral porterweed that was on the fence that was getting a little much. So they're due for a good watering soon, but for now, this is my little butterfly row, and we have more space for more buckets later. Hi, Wally. Wally's hanging out with me. So I have some leftover plants that I need to put into the ground. Our local nursery was just having clearance, so I picked up this blue porterweed, which isn't looking great, but I don't really care because it was pretty much free. So gotta put these guys in. I just haven't had the right idea yet to do that. I need to get another bucket going. So this is our Joseph's Coat rose that we got about almost a month ago. It's hard to believe it's only been in for a few weeks with all of this growth because they were completely bare when I got them from Heirloom Roses. And if you missed that, I did a whole unboxing on them. But this is going to be my first climbing rose. And initially, I was going to try to put stakes and trellises in here just to kind of cut some of the bright whiteness in the summer heat. But the internet gave me some inspiration, and I was thinking about moving it actually to the base of my sweet almond bush because it's so big. And in the Joseph's Coat, it's been known to attract bees because of its colorful foliage. So I was like, well, maybe I should just turn it into a climbing rose here. I don't know. I'm still really torn because we do have to trim this back quite often because it grows so quickly, but it is a spectacular pollinator plant. So still trying to figure it out, but the plant is pretty small still, so we got some time. What you looking at, Wally? Okay, Wally's over here. So I'm gonna stand in the shade so we have a little bit of an easier view. Actually, did you guys see this? Hey, Mousse. What you digging? Yep. I'm gonna have a Zen garden soon. All right, so to make room for our roses, I put the green stalk, and one of the ones that was over here, I put it on a block and moved it over here. So that's pretty great. So this one is mostly pollinator plants is what I'm going to make it. So I've got a lot of swallowtails food in there. Obviously you can see a lot of parsley, a lot of fennel, but I wish I could say my kale seedlings took, but they didn't. We had to go back in, check on something in the house. Where were we? Oh yes, our green stalks. So I've been trying to get kale to grow from seeds in this city picker. It's not growing super good, and I ultimately ended up just going to the nursery and getting some starters, which hopefully wasn't too late. But I've never grown kale before, so I feel like at least the first time around I'll let it be. Actually, I know we're not technically on this section yet, but I have some volunteer tomatoes down there. No idea what kind it is, but I'm not gonna kill them. So mostly swallowtail support in here, except for a few random kales. This one has freshly eaten milkweed along the bottom because we've had a lot of eggs recently. We have some sage, some parsley, and then this middle tier is hopefully purple potatoes. I'm really hoping. I've never really had a lot of luck, but I'm trying. I tried to make some sweet potato starts, but that hasn't gone super great. It's too cold for them, I think. And then this tier here isn't technically filled with anything right now, but when it gets a little warmer, I'll put more sweet potato starts in. Oh, this little area is just kind of my milkweed overflow. And what I've been doing is, as I've been making my pollinator area over here, I've just been taking some of the milkweed that doesn't have a home, or just like pulling up some of these little seedlings that I have and tossing them in, because obviously milkweed is the most important thing for monarchs, and now that they're endangered, we got to make more of an effort. So our final green stalk is still full at the bottom 3 tiers of my original strawberries, which if they don't produce this year, I'm probably going to rip out, because for the amount of space that they take up, I really didn't get a lot out of them last year. So I know they take a few years to kick in, but technically last year would have been year 1, so this would have been year 2, because they've been in for 2 years now. Because I didn't replant these last year, they were already existing. So watering, doing the best that I can. The Malabar spinach from summertime, I didn't really rip up because it's pretty much just falling apart on its own. If it comes back, great. If not, whatever. I have mixed feelings about it. This top tier, I had put some sweet potatoes in. They aren't going super good, but apparently this chrysalis thought it was a good idea to make its home here for now, so fine. So I just put some of my extra kale seedlings that I bought. So they're there. Now let's do our vegetable row area. Like I said, I ended up getting the seedling starts for the kales for over here. So we'll see if they stick. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but I at least got a volunteer tomato out of this. My existing peppers, which look super raggedy, but are still somehow producing. Like, I've got quite a few little peppers here and there. I probably should have put something over them with the cold weather, but I'm not especially committed to these plants right now. They've been kind of mixed, so I figured you live great if you don't, whatever. By extension, the peppers that I had started from seed in these 2 bins have pretty much halted growth as of a month or 2 ago, which I'm just choosing to believe that they're making really strong roots for later. But there's like volunteer tomatoes coming up here, which I don't know where that's from, so they're gonna stay. Same thing with these peppers. Like, this one started making a little pepper recently, which I'm surprised about, but they're doing okay. Same with these peppers. They're not really getting bigger, but they're also not dying. Mousse, on the other hand, is getting much bigger. I don't know if you guys have been following him on Instagram or anything, or just looking in between videos, but he's just past 5 months and he's already 50 pounds. Still trying to eat all of Mom's plants. Mousse, don't eat the plants, silly. Don't eat the plants. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, we'll get to these in a second. Peppers, still peppery. Some of the tomatoes are growing really well in their earth boxes, of course. I've been starting to stake them. I was pruning back the suckers on them, but then I decided I'm going to let them go so I can give them to gifts for people nearby who needed seed starters and didn't have the time or resources to go get them themselves. I got some lemons here, which I think can pick now. I don't know, but they look pretty darn close. I've been saying that for a long time though. So my last 2 lemons in my dwarf lemon tree. A wild Wally was spotted. Hi, Wally. He's pretty over it. And so here's a good shot. Hey, Wally. So Wally is about 2.5 now. He's 65 pounds, although he is a bit on the fluffier side right now. And here's his little brother Mousse, who's just past 5 months and about 50 pounds. So he's gonna probably be bigger than Wally when he's grown up, but he's growing very fast, and he's about 10 pounds heavier than Wally was at his age. So he's gonna be giant. All right, so the biggest transformation of the garden this year was this cement block row. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to put it in the middle of summer, but I did. And so it's done, and I'm glad I did it. It's pretty close to level. All of these boxes are on the watering system. Obviously, there's some holes here where some of the buckets I pulled for the pollinator row over on the side of the houses. I got another bucket that's going to go over there. So much. I loved this bucket here with the yellow, the gardenia, and I think there's some pentas or something over there, and of course some milkweed snuck in there. So I'm gonna leave that because I just remember that bucket looks beautiful when it's all blooming. I have my new Dark Desire rose, which has a tremendous amount of new growth on it. I'll try and put some in the shade, but it's off to a good start. Lots of beautiful growth, and I potted in some of the milkweed, some baby aloe, and some alyssum because that smells really good, and I think it'll look really pretty cascading over the edge. My Double Delight rose is doing good. I'm going to trim it back and prune it like I did last year, or I guess this year in February. I don't know if you guys saw videos from before, but this had been completely covered on the top layer with the aloes, and it was really great because it kept the weeds out. So that's why I put a little smig of aloe in a lot of my bins, so that way they help kind of prevent some weeds, and it gets a little bit more coverage on the dirt so it doesn't evaporate as quickly. But that's doing fantastic. This bin, maybe there's a tomato growing, maybe there's not, but I threw some kale in because I had an extra starter. My Red Intuition is doing great. This beauty was blooming for us the other day during Christmas, and that was really nice to have. We got some new blooms coming in. This is all of the alyssum I tried to plant from seedling, which looks like it's taking. I'm hoping to have like a just beautiful overfilled thing here. Hey, Mousse. Mousse can barely fit in here. Hey, big guy. Hi. He's definitely a garden dog. Amaranth that took it upon itself to grow over there, which is fine. This one here is my Mr. Lincoln, which was a surprise that I bought it, but I'm really glad I did. Absolutely beautiful blooms. These more tomatoes in here, albeit slow growing. I was actually able to pick some cherry tomatoes for some Christmas dinner, and that was pretty great. And then this one here, I'll stand out of the sun for it. This one is another one of the heirloom roses that I got. So I had gotten 3. So I got this one, the Dark Desire, and then the Joseph's Coat over on the fence line. This one is Portlandia, and I was not expecting to get it, but beautiful pictures, beautiful descriptions online. So why the heck not? This is my Malabar spinach original bin. Somehow I got tomatoes in it. I threw a kale in because I was like, well, I don't know what's growing. I have no idea what that is, but mostly I didn't want to take it out because this weed that's behind it with all the white flowers, I didn't put it in, but nature did, and the pollinators love it. So I figured, there are far worse things that I could let grow, and it's pretty, it has flowers, so I'm gonna let this be for now. And then down here, the remaining plant I have, the remaining rose, this is my Granada rose from Nelson's, which is done remarkably well this year. It's its first year in hasn't even been in for a full year. Beautiful blooms, just almost always blooming when the temperature's right. Really pleased about it. And you can't tell because I just gave it a haircut, but we got some cat whiskers over here. And one of the most remarkable things about all this is the milkweed. I always rant about this because I have this big swamp milkweed. I have the tropical milkweed in a couple different colors. I have another milkweed which I can never get to grow, but I have little bits of it here and there. And I swear the mother monarchs know where the tropical milkweed is, and that's always their first choice. Like, they find it hidden in all of the bins. And I have it in every rose container that I planted. I made sure I put milkweed in. Like, it's in every container that is let's say a flower container. So there's milkweed everywhere, and they always put it in there. And even though there's all of this giant swamp milkweed, somehow they never want to lay their eggs on it unless they really have to. But the caterpillars will eat it if I feed it to them in their cage. Oh, hey boys. Poor Wally's he's getting anxious out here. He wants to go see Dad. So anyways, when I don't have enough food of tropical milkweed, I put them over here, and you never really see eggs on here. But there are, let's see if you can see, there's a guy there. There's guys over here. There's a little I mean, you can see him just moving along, chomping away. Like, there's so many little guys on here. So there's a little fat guy right here. Look at him. So we're gonna have lots of great little guys, hopefully not getting picked off. Oh, here's another guy. I mean, we have a ton over here. Like, this is probably the most I've ever had on this plant that was voluntarily here. Mousse, no digging. So this is pretty incredible. Like, this is great. So I'm really glad the pollinators are appreciating that. Now, another big addition this year we had was my new tumbler, which I love. And if you guys have been watching my vermicomposting update, we saw a little bit of it over here. I put some of my vermicompost scraps in here that I was having gnat problems with, and so far, I mean, it's fine. This was a little bit of a fail this year. My tub, not that the tub method doesn't work, it's just, it didn't work for me because of all of the shade, and that's west over this way. So it didn't get a lot of sun, and it's not really great for growing things. So I've been slowly pulling the dirt out, and I'll put that out on trash day. Mousse, our branch manager, is working hard. This is why my yard is a mess. Everything goes in this puppy's mouth. It's amazing. So I think if you have a sunnier location than I do, the tub method would probably work, but it just didn't work for us in Florida in this, area. And if I can just get around this hole here, Mousse has been out here for 5 minutes. So this is another new thing that I wanted to end our video on this year as we recap the garden for 2020. This is one of the things that I added to the garden, which is new, and I've been really wanting, and it's a city picker, but it's a double city picker. And city pickers are the same ones that Home Depot sells, but this is an extra long one, and it's essentially just two of them put together. I haven't had to set up the automatic watering system in it because there hasn't really been a lot in it up until recently, but I wanted to have a pollinator hotspot here, the pollinator stuff on the side of the house, and then a few pollinator clusters mixed in here. But I really wanted this area to be focused on roses and vegetables because, I really got into roses this year and I want to enjoy them. And so my priority is roses and, food and things that I can eat. So that's what I really want this area to be. And so that's what I'm going to continue to focus it on as, so I wanted to make sure there were some pollinator hubs. And so this is going to be the main pollinator hub for this area. So we got some hot raspberry butterfly bush, which I love, and it grows in beautifully. Of course, milkweed. I had another milkweed in there, but somebody pulled it out. So we're going to have to put more in, which is fine. We have some alyssum, some pentas, and the delphinium won't grow forever, but it's really pretty while it lasts. And then I'm hoping this jasmine will grow, and I have some temporary stakes in here, but I'm hoping I can get like a little trellis for here for it to grow up, because I love the smell of jasmine. So this is my last little area that I need to share you guys some updates on for the rest of this year. But overall, really pleased with how the garden has progressed this year. I think we all collectively learned a lot with gardening in light of everything that happened this year. So I'm trying to focus on, the food that I can grow and I want to grow and I can eat. But I also want to make sure that since we're all spending a lot more time at home, that there's something pretty and beautiful. So my rose affinity has grown, and I'm trying to do more of that in 2021 with my fluffy helpers, which oh Wally, what are we gonna do with your brother? All right, guys. Well, I think we've rambled through the garden long enough, but make sure you take the time to garden and do things that are relaxing in the garden. So we don't want this to be a big chore. We want this to just be relaxing and therapeutic, because nature has such a wonderful soothing effect on it. We don't want to waste it rushing through it and missing out on the relaxing properties it has. So with that being said, I'll leave you with a farewell from little Mousse. Bye bye, Mousse.